The soldier who kept getting letters from himself. Have you ever received a message that seemed impossible? A message that knew things no one else could know? Tonight's Dark Files story follows a soldier stationed at an isolated mountain base who begins receiving letters from the only person who could never have sent them: himself. The first letter arrived on a cold October morning. Private Ethan Cole had been stationed at an isolated mountain base for 3 months. Nothing ever happened there. No action, no excitement. Just endless forest, frozen wind, and silence that pressed against your ears like pressure. That's why the mail was such a big deal. So when Ethan saw an envelope with his name on it, he smiled, until he saw the sender. Ethan Cole, his own name. He frowned. Some kind of joke. Inside was a single sheet of paper. 5 words. "Don't go into the forest tonight." Ethan laughed nervously and showed it to Ramirez. "Someone's messing with me." Ramirez shrugged. "We're in the middle of nowhere. Could be anyone." But that night, something happened. A soldier named Jenkins wandered into the forest after hearing someone call his name from deep between the trees. Hours later, a search team found him unconscious. He was pale, shaking, terrified, but alive. When they asked him what happened, he refused to answer. No injuries, no explanation. Ethan didn't sleep that night. 3 days later, another letter arrived. Same handwriting, same sender. Ethan Cole. This one contained a different warning. Do not enter Building 12 tomorrow. Building 12 was abandoned. Locked. Officially forgotten. Ethan nearly threw the letter away. Nearly. The next afternoon, at exactly 3:17 p.m., a section of Building 12 collapsed. Old support beams snapped. The roof crashed inward. Anyone inside would have died instantly. Ethan stood outside the safety tape, staring at the wreckage. The letter had been right. Again. Someone wasn't guessing. Someone knew. That night, Ethan woke to a scratching sound. Slow, deliberate, coming from his window. His room was on the 2nd floor. There was no balcony, no fire escape, no way anyone could reach it. He grabbed a flashlight and pulled the curtain aside. Nothing. Then the beam lowered. An envelope was pressed against the outside of the glass. His blood turned cold. The wind outside was completely still. No ladder, no rope, no footprints, nothing. Yet somehow the envelope was there. Waiting. Inside was another warning. You have 7 days left. Beneath it was a second message. Do not trust Lieutenant Barker. Lieutenant Barker was one of the most respected officers on the base. Calm, professional, trusted by everyone. Ethan wanted to ignore the warning, but the previous letters had been right. Every single one. So he started watching Barker. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but after several days, Ethan noticed strange things. Late-night meetings, restricted rooms, conversations that ended the moment he approached. Then one night, Ethan saw Barker walking toward the forest, alone. At 2:13 in the morning, unable to resist, Ethan followed. The deeper he went into the trees, the stranger the forest became. No insects, no birds, no sound, just silence. Eventually, Barker entered a clearing, and Ethan froze. Dozens of wooden crosses stood beneath the moonlight. No names, no markings, just endless rows of weathered wood. Barker walked to the center and knelt before one of them. Then he began whispering. Ethan stepped backward. A branch snapped beneath his boot. Crack. Barker turned instantly and smiled, a slow, unnatural smile. At that exact moment, every cross in the clearing creaked, as if something beneath them had moved. Ethan ran. He didn't stop until he reached the base. The next morning, another letter arrived. Only 3 words. He's not real. Ethan stared at the page. Who wasn't real? Barker? The person sending the letters? Or him? Things began changing after that. Entire hours disappeared from his memory. Sometimes, he would wake up in places he didn't remember going. Other soldiers looked at him strangely, like they recognized him, but couldn't remember why. Then came the 6th day, the second to last letter. Tomorrow you die. Ethan spent the entire night awake. The next morning, storm clouds gathered over the mountains. The base entered emergency alert. Dark clouds swallowed the sky. Wind screamed through the trees. But something else felt wrong. Nobody seemed to notice Ethan anymore. When he spoke, soldiers ignored him. When he asked questions, nobody answered. Ramirez walked directly past him, as though Ethan wasn't even there. Fear tightened around his chest. He ran toward headquarters. That's when he saw Barker standing in the rain, holding an envelope, waiting. Ethan approached. "Tell me what's happening." Barker said nothing. He simply handed Ethan the envelope, then turned and disappeared into the storm. Inside was a photograph. A destroyed military convoy. Flames, smoke, twisted metal. Bodies. And among them, Ethan. The date written on the back made his heart stop. October 17th, 1 year ago. Ethan stared at the date, because today was October 17th. Then the memories returned. The convoy, the explosion, the fire, the screaming, the shockwave, his death. He staggered backward. No. Everything around him began to flicker. Buildings blurred, soldiers faded. Reality itself seemed unstable. Then the truth hit him. He had died a year ago. This wasn't real. The base wasn't real. The week wasn't real. It was a loop, a repeating fragment of his final days. The letters weren't being sent by someone else. They were being sent by him. Every version of Ethan that discovered the truth. Every version trying to warn the next. Every version failing. Because every time the loop restarted, he forgot. Thunder exploded overhead. The military base dissolved into darkness. Only the forest remained. And the crosses, hundreds of them. One for every failed attempt. One for every forgotten memory. Then Ethan noticed a single cross standing apart from the rest. His name was carved into it. Ethan Cole. A voice spoke behind him. "You finally remembered." Ethan turned. Standing there was another version of himself. Older, exhausted, covered in ash. The first Ethan, the one who had been writing the letters. "I keep trying," the older Ethan said softly. "But you always forget." "What is this?" Ethan whispered. The older version smiled sadly. "It's your last week, over and over again. Every time you reach the end, the loop resets. And the letters? I send them, hoping one version of you will remember." Lightning flashed. The forest flickered. Ethan looked at the endless rows of crosses. "Can I escape?" The older Ethan shook his head. "No." Silence filled the clearing. Then he spoke one final time. "You're not meant to escape." A pause. "You're meant to remember." The darkness swallowed everything. The next morning, at the same mountain base, a young soldier opened his locker. Inside was an envelope, addressed to him. The sender's name read, Ethan Cole. The soldier frowned, then opened the letter. Inside were 5 chilling words. "Don't go into the forest tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's Dark Files story, make sure to subscribe for more terrifying mysteries. And remember, some messages are never meant to be opened.